Particularly with residential properties, when we're borrowing to invest in superannuation, there are very stringent restrictions there in place. Some of the usual investment restrictions apply that we will talk about when we talk about investment strategy, things like operating at arm's length, using all commercial terms, and not having in-house assets and things like that. But I guess to explain that more clearly, what we're looking for with residential property is not purchasing that property from a member or a related party of a member. So anyone associated with that member is removed from the picture. We can't acquire a property from them, nor can we lease the property back to them, even for a week a year. So we couldn't, for example, buy a holiday house with our superannuation money and expect that a family member or relative could stay in that property at any point in time. So with residential property, we're quite limited in terms of the use. We can buy it at arm's length and we can lease it out at commercial rates to unknown parties on a commercial basis, and that's fine. When it comes to commercial property or business property, it's not as restrictive. So we still have to operate on arm's length terms, make sure all the rates and rent and all of those kinds of things are at commercial rates, and we have proper leases in place and things like that. But we can acquire that kind of property from a member of the fund or a relative of a member. So we could move, for example, a business property like a factory into our superannuation fund using borrowings to acquire that business property, that factory, and then the business that's operating in that factory would pay rent to the Self-Managed Superannuation Fund as the owner of the fund on arm's length terms. So we can have related parties in that instance, but you can't do that with residential property. The other big thing to remember is that we can't develop property when it's subject to borrowings within superannuation. So if we're looking to acquire a unit or something like that and do it up, put in a new kitchen or bathroom, we can't do that within the superannuation environment. That's something that we would need to look at outside of superannuation. So within the super environment, you can acquire a property, you can certainly do repairs and maintenance, but we must be very careful not to breach the rules and step over the line and turn that repair or maintenance into a big improvement that really changes the nature of that property. So development is pretty much out until you've paid off the property. Once a property's paid off, you can do what you like. So you could develop that and make substantial gains in that way. In addition, because of that limitation on developing property, you couldn't, for example, buy a piece of land and then later on build a house on it or a factory or something like that. Again, that's property development, and it's just not permitted within the superannuation environment when we're borrowing to invest. But as long as we stay within those rules and having access to good advice there to keep us on track is particularly important, I think, then we're okay. Then we can really maximise the taxation advantages of investing through super with these kinds of assets.